I'm going to do a little something different with this episode. This is a legislation-focused bonus show. I reviewed the Republican and Democratic Party platform documents as primary sources for each party's technology positions. I pulled out the sections that cover technology. Now, there are a lot of positions about jobs, labor, healthcare, the economy, and other areas related to operating a business. I am not covering those here. I want to look at policy, not personality. It's not about the horse race, and it's not about polling. It's just pulling the relevant sections of party platforms about technology. I hope this is very wonky, not controversial. I've divided this into an episode of its own to make 2 changes to my format. First change, you'll also note that there are no ads on this episode and no sponsors involved. The second change is that I'm also not doing Why Do We Care segments. This episode is intended to give insight into the party platforms, not my personal beliefs. I'm not trying to push my politics. I just want listeners to be informed. Thus, I'm explicitly removing opinion sections. Thus, it's very much in the spirit of bonus content. If this episode isn't for you, you will not offend me if you skip it. I suspect you're pretty busy and didn't want to go through the documents yourself. Still with me? Let's get into it. Let's review the core GOP platform first, as they went first in convention order. It was finalized for the convention. The GOP document is significantly shorter. 2 sections include discussion of technology. The first 2 are in Chapter 3, Build the Greatest Economy in History. Crypto. Republicans will end Democrats' unlawful and un-American crypto crackdown and oppose the creation of a central bank digital currency. We will defend the right to mine Bitcoin and ensure every American has the right to self-custody of their digital assets and transact free from government surveillance and control. Artificial intelligence. We will repeal Joe Biden's dangerous executive order that hinders AI innovation and imposes radical left-wing ideas on the development of this technology. In its place, Republicans support AI development rooted in free speech and human flourishing. There's also this section in Chapter 10, Return to Peace Through Strength. Protect critical infrastructure. Republicans will use all tools of national power to protect our nation's critical infrastructure and industrial base from malicious cyber actors. This will be a national priority, and we will both raise the security standards for our critical systems and networks and defend them against bad actors. Those are all the mentions of technology. Next, let's review the Democratic Party platform. I'm working off the July 13th draft, which was the latest version at the time of recording, as the convention hasn't happened. That date predates President Biden dropping out of the race. I will not change the document's wording. Chapter 8, Advancing the President's Unity Agenda, contains the paragraphs following about technology. Protecting kids online, strengthening the Americans' data privacy, and promoting competition. Tech platforms and companies help keep us connected, inspire ideas and innovation, and create a global marketplace. At the same time, they collect, share, and exploit data, risk our children's mental health, and deepen extremism and polarization. There is growing scientific evidence for what so many Americans already know. Social media and other online platforms can affect our mental health and well-being, particularly for our kids. In addition, a handful of dominant tech platforms and companies increasingly control much of the market, allowing them to exercise enormous power over Americans' daily lives, and too often use that power to exclude competitors and undermine consumers and innovation. President Biden believes that all companies, including technology companies, should be held accountable for the harm they cause. The president has raised the alarm that social media and other platforms have allowed abusive and even criminal conduct like cyberstalking, child sexual exploitation, and non-consensual intimate images to proliferate on their sites, and called on Democrats and Republicans to unite on legislation to address these issues. The Surgeon General issued an advisory warning about the impacts of social media on youth mental health, noting that he cannot conclude social media is safe for children and adolescents. Democrats will pass bipartisan legislation to protect kids' privacy and to stop big tech from collecting personal data on kids and teenagers online. ban targeted advertising to children, and put stricter limits on the personal data these companies collect on all of us. And the administration has strengthened legal protections for survivors and victims of non-consensual intimate imagery, including those generated by AI, building on the federal civil cause of action established under the Violence Against Women Act reauthorization of 2022. President Biden has also called on Democrats and Republicans to pass bipartisan legislation to promote competition and privacy in the tech industry. Important policies include promoting interoperability between tech services and platforms, allowing users to control and transfer their data, and preventing large platforms from giving their own products and services an unfair advantage in the marketplace. We must also fundamentally reform Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act, which shields tech platforms from liability even when they host or disseminate violent or illegal content, to ensure that platforms take responsibility for the content they share. Democrats are determined to strengthen data privacy. The president issued an executive order to protect America's sensitive personal data from commercial data brokers, identity thieves, and foreign intelligence actors. And the Federal Trade Commission is cracking down on commercial surveillance and taking on technology companies for illegally retaining children's data. We must do more and update and pass the Consumer Privacy Bill of Rights, protect student data privacy by ensuring what is collected in schools is only used for education, and update the Electronic Communications Privacy Act to protect personal electronic information and safeguard location information. Seizing the promise and managing the risks of AI. Artificial intelligence holds extraordinary potential for both promise and peril. While AI is helping to cure diseases, predict the weather, and transform education, it's also being used to clone voices, commit fraud, institutionalize bias, and undermine democracy. We need to act now and act fast to realize the promise of AI and manage its risks to ensure that AI serves the public interest. Democrats are finding solutions to make sure that as AI's capabilities grow, we can manage the implications for Americans' rights, safety, and security. President Biden issued a landmark executive order directing federal agencies to establish new high standards for AI safety and security, protect Americans' privacy, advance equity and civil rights, stand up for workers and consumers, promote competitive markets for AI development and use, and more. Democrats are committed to ensuring that workers get a voice in how AI is used in their workplace and that they share fairly in any economic gains AI produces. We know that AI can deepen discrimination, bias, and other abuses in justice, healthcare, and housing. That's why the administration has already taken action by publishing the blueprint for an AI Bill of Rights and issuing new guidance from federal agencies on combating algorithmic discrimination across the economy. As AI becomes more prevalent, it's critical we have the brightest minds working to understand new technologies. The administration launched an AI talent surge to accelerate hiring AI professionals across the federal government, launching a pilot program to enhance successful initiatives for training additional scientists in AI, and created the AI Safety Institute at the National Institute of Standards and Technology to set rigorous standards for extensive testing of powerful AI models to ensure safety before public release. During President Biden's second term, Democrats will continue to advocate for the safe and secure development of AI. We will invest in the AI Safety Institute to create guidelines, tools, benchmarks, and best practices for evaluating dangerous capabilities and mitigating AI risk. We will also prioritize funding for critical AI research and development that advances AI safety. We will also ban voice impersonations, and President Biden will take action to provide heightened protections in critical sectors such as healthcare, financial services, education, housing, and transportation. Finally, we will make sure that we responsibly develop, test, procure, integrate transformative AI across the federal government. That is all the sections on technology. Thanks for listening. I wanted to make sure to give you the words directly from the source material. Thought that was useful and hopefully a good use of your time. Thanks for listening. Talk to you again soon.
The Business of Tech is written and produced by me, Dave Sobel, under ethics guidelines posted at businessof.tech. If you like the content, please make sure to hit that like button, follow, or subscribe. It's free and easy and the best way to support the show and help us grow. You can also check out our Patreon, where you can join the Business of Tech community at patreon.com/MSP Radio, or buy our Why Do We Care merch at businessof.tech. Finally, if you're interested in advertising on the show, visit mspradio.com/engage. Once again, thanks for listening to me. I will talk to you again on our next episode of The Business of Tech.
Part of the MSP Radio Network.